Hello everyone, today's going to be my Monday manga spoiler review of Vinland Saga Book 1 for Honor of Vengeance by Makoto Yuki... Sorry, I'm terrible with this name. Yuki Mera. Sorry, butcher name. But this is a great book, I recommend it. So this is a spoiler review, so here we go. Start off with basically Thorfinn is a warrior for Askeladd's army. Askeladd's army conquers villages, conquers whatever he wants. His ultimate goal is to conquer everything he really wants, and that's pretty much his ultimate goal. And he uses Thorfinn as a tool. They conquer a mission. They succeeded. They're about to celebrate, and Thorfinn comes right up to Askeladd, says, "I want to fight you right now." And Askeladd says, "Wait till morning, young man, and we'll be ready for it." They do. They fight, and Thorfinn nearly has upper hand. But the only problem is Askeladd is smart. He is very battle tactic, and he uses emotions to get the best of him. And he does. And he's also very dirty, but he doesn't mean to be dirty, but he is dirty. And that's who he is. And he basically takes out Thorfinn, and we realize that this is basically what Thorfinn is. He's a slave. He's an animal. He's a wild guard dog, tied down and released when he needs to be released, and controlled when he needs to be controlled. That's who he is, and that's what he's going to be. And Askeladd hears that a village has been conquered by a friend of his. He decided to go up there and meet up, and they do. They meet up there, and they realize that all the conquering they did, they kill all the men, they slay the women and children, and the majority of them are slaves. And Askeladd, that's what he wants. His biggest goal is to go to Vinland, conquer it, and own everything. That's his biggest goal. His friend's biggest goal. He owned it. He earns it. And we realize that pretty much. Slavery is in the oldness very much. If you're not into slavery stories or about slaves, it's not for you. It does hit pretty hard on it. One girl is a slave. She survived, but she's treated as like an animal. He has no name. She can't speak, and she serves. And she sees Thorfinn, decides to try to give him food because Thorfinn doesn't want to be in celebration. She meets up with them and tells him, says, "What a warrior you are! I wish, and you're free. I wish I was free like you." Thorfinn looks right at her and says, "I'm not free. I'm a wild animal, tied down. That's who I am. I'm just like you. And why you're still here? You had a chance to get out. You could leave, you can go anywhere you want, but you decide to stay here. Why?" And we realize Thorfinn, this is the backstory of what he actually is. We have a flashback in half the book of Thorfinn as a child meeting with Thor's father and other stuff too. Thorfinn as a child is super ambitious. He loves Vikings. Leif Erikson's his uncle, and he loved Leif Erikson telling him about Vinland, how beautiful Vinland really is, and how much he wants to go there. And that's what Thorfinn wants to be. He wants to be a Viking. And he realizes his father's a Viking as well, so he goes, finds a sword, plays around with it. His father sees it and tells him, "Thorfinn, that is a tool for killing, not a tool for playing." He says, "If you're going to be a Viking, you're going to have to endure blood." And that's what he wants. I mean, that's not what he wants. That's not what he wants from him. Thor's with the Vikings well. He decides to become a villager, and that's who he is. And we realize it's a boring thing, but that's what he wants to be. He's a loving father, a loving husband, and a loving man, and a good friend, a good friend. And a slave does escape from a nearby village, and people are trying to find him. And he goes to Thor's home and decides to hide out and try to survive. And they do. They hide him out. They survive. They keep him survive. But there's other people too. There's other guards from another village far away. We realize it's actually a kingdom that has a slave that escaped, and they want him. And Thor decides to sell his livestock for a slave. They do. His daughter hates it for it. He says, "We sold our livestock for some puny slave, seriously?" And sadly, the slave dies. The slave dies of hypothermia, froze to death, and then we realize it's a bad decision. But Thor says, is the right decision for a human being. And that's a human being we need to know. Even though it died, didn't care. I mean, his livestock was less than a human being, than a human being. So Thorfinn hears that there's that Leif is going to Vinland, and he decides to have a crew and go to find his brother at Vinland, which Thorfinn sneakily goes on board. Halfway through the trip, Forrest finds out his son's there, and he says, "You just obey my orders. You should be with your family, protect your family." But Thorfinn's like, "I don't want to be with the family. I don't want to be bored. That's boring. I want to be with you. I want to be in Vinland. That's where I want to be. I want to visit the uncle. I want to visit Uncle Leif. That's where I want to be." And Forrest's like, "Fine, you can come, but you have to be hidden. We have to protect you, because something happens. We have to protect you." And of course, something does happen. Askeladd's army arrives, and they come. They have ambush. They capture the crew, and Forrest says, "We'll fight to the duel. We'll fight. We'll have a duel. We'll fight to the death. If I win, we can move through. If I win, our crew can move through. If you win, you can take everything you want." So Askeladd takes it. We realize Askeladd and Forrest know each other. They used to be partners, and Forrest left because it was too much for him. He decides, "I don't want to be like I don't want to be with Askeladd's crew," and he decides to do that. Askeladd uses the way he wants. Vengeance. He wants control. He wants everything. He wants conquering. That's what he wants to do. So Forrest nearly beats him. Nearly has the upper hand on him. But Askeladd tricks him, uses him, and ambushes him and kills him. While Thorfinn sees his father die in front of him. Thorfinn jumps out into danger and basically wants to kill Askeladd. That's all he wants to do. He sees his father, and Askeladd realizes, that's your son. I'll take him. He takes him as a slave, and of course that's how the story starts. And basically, all Thorfinn wants to do is kill Askeladd for killing his father. For no honor, just vengeance. But all really Thorfinn has is vengeance. He wants to kill him. He tries poisoning him. He tries stabbing him at night. He tries everything. And Askeladd keeps saying, "I'll be waiting. Your father was a great warrior." But he made a mistake. He made a big mistake. He made a big mistake. You and board. You should have not been, you never should be here. But I'll be waiting. And when I'm waiting, you can kill me. Wonderful. But I'll be waiting. And he's using the tool. Slave, a guard dog, whatever he can. And book 1 ends with really a tragic dread of what Thorfinn's going through. And book 1 ends basically what happens. And that's basically what happens for Thorfinn to a child, to a teenager. Book 2 is great too. I'm reading book 2 right now, and it's fantastic. It's the War of England, which is great. And Askeladd is a complete horrible man, smart, smuggish, and has a goal. All the goal is to conquer everything, have everything. He wants Vinland. That's what he wants. The non-slavery, what Leif says, Askeladd doesn't want that. Askeladd wants slavery. He wants it, and that's what he really wants. And this is all Thorfinn wants to do. Thorfinn wants to kill Askeladd. So yeah, that's all he wants to do, because his father's dead. And I'm going to show you some of the artwork on here. Book 1's great. I love book 1. It's dark. It's threatening at first. I'll say one thing about this, highly violent. There's a couple things in there very well. Slavery is involved, so you have to get used to seeing people as slaves. And it's sad. Very, very sad. Very hard to get into. But I'm going to show you the artwork on this. This is half the book. This is the Forrest storyline. And it's great. I love Forrest very much. Great father, great husband, great man. But it's sad he had to end his life. And the way it ended was just, you feel for Thorfinn. You really do. You want Thorfinn to win, but you also want Thorfinn to succeed and try to survive. And that's basically what he's trying to do. He's trying to survive for the elements, for whatever's right in front of him. And there's a lot of traction around there. So yeah. There's also maps, which I love. I love the idea there's maps. So in the manga, there are expositions printed in dialogue. And basically there are maps. This is 4. So Thorfinn's travel. So you see what Thorfinn's travel is. And it gives you a map. I love that very much. I know in the deluxe version, there's a giant map in the deluxe version, which is cool. I love that very much. and just a great one to get into. Of course, there's one where Thorfinn's playing around with the sword. It's he playing on a wooden sword first, and then he finds his father's sword. And this is the part I love. His father's sword's like, whoa, amazing. And then his father sees him and it's like, I don't want you to be like that at all. I want you to be just like me, just calm, peaceful, humble, good, nurturing person. And that is not exactly what Thorfinn actually wants to be. Thorfinn wants to be just like a Viking, and now he really gets into it very much. I love the battle scenes in here. The fight scenes are great. I love the fight scene between Thors and Askeladd, and Thorfinn and Askeladd as well. Thorfinn and Askeladd's fight is brutal, brutal, just messed up, but done beautifully. And Thorfinn nearly wins, but that's what Askeladd wants to do. Askeladd wants you to get the upper hand, and then he wants to take you out. He wants to give you some more glory, ultimate glory, but really, Askeladd is the opposite. He wants to give you everything, and then he wants to take it all from you. That's what he wants. He's a barbarian. That's what I basically call him. He's a barbarian. That's what pretty much what he is. I'm going to show you all also, like I said, this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't read the whole thing, this is a spoiler review, so like he almost got the upper hand on him. See it? About to cut his head off, but he has honor. Doesn't do it because doesn't want bloodshed. Doesn't want bloodshed. Just throw the sword away. Just throw the sword away. And then, of course, Askeladd just is like, really? Really? And then turns Thors into a pincushion. And there's Thorfinn right there on, right. It's a gripping, sad scene. By the way, the anime starts off as Thorfinn as a child, and then goes on to, like, I guess, right to where Thorfinn is a teenager, I believe. Anime is great. I love anime, but I prefer the manga very much. So I hope you all enjoy this review. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel. That helps a lot. And also comment if you have any comment for suggestions or any comment about Vinland Saga. Wonderful, awesome. I'll be happy to do that. Or any future suggestions for like manga, movies, comics, whatever you want me to do, TV shows, whatever you want me to do in the future, I'll probably do it. So hope you all enjoy this, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.